Hello, my name is James Manueli. I'm here at Kennedy Violins, and today we will be demonstrating how to tie a classical guitar string onto a classical guitar. I will be choosing one of our classical guitar models, the CL6, and I will be using the ProArt Diodario's EJ45s strings. They're a very generic string, but they will work just fine on most classical guitars. I will start to use the E string, which is the low bass strings, and then I will also demonstrate how to tie on one of the treble strings because they're a little bit different. The treble strings are a little more challenging to tie. So when you get your bass string, the E string, one end is going to be a little more flexible than the other. You want to use the end with a little stiffness to it. That's going to be a little easier to tie on to the bridge. So I will get this end, and you can bend it a little bit. It will take the bend, and then you will start by inserting it into the pre-existing hole that is drilled into the tie block right behind the saddle. And you want to push that a little bit, and it should come right through, as so. So you want to leave yourself some string in order to tie the string into the tie block itself. So what I'm going to do is kind of give myself at least, about 2 inches, a little over, and I'm going to wrap it around like so. So I'm creating a loop, and I'm creating a friction here right on in back of the saddle. In fact, let me give myself a little more string. Taking it over. There you go. So now this will create friction here, and the point of contact is going to be right inside, in back of the saddle, right before the tie block. And then I'm going to insert the string into the hoop. So what we'll try to do is, you don't want to pull too quickly. You want some leeway on this hoop here. So when you pull, you want the existing string to go behind the tie block, and then you pull. That's going to create the point of tie right behind there. That's going to create the knot. So you want to leave this open just a bit, so you don't, if you pull on it, then you'll lose that knot there. It's going to sit there. So now from here, since the string's in place, and the bass strings are much easier than the trebles because they will stay in place until we get tie the bass strings onto the rollers. So after we get the loop fastened and it's staying, then I'm going to address how to put the string into the roller, into the keys. So I'm going to flip the guitar over this way a little bit so you can see. Now notice I do have a string already, the A string is already on the instrument. It is tied into the roller and also tied on the bridge. So I'm going to place the string going inside the hole, give myself enough string to work with. And I'm going to put it into the nut slot right here. Now there's always a question on how much slack you need before you start tying the string. My rule of thumb is if you put your fingers around the 12th fret, a couple fingers, maybe an inch. So if once the string comes down, that's about how much slack you need in order to start tying the string around the roller, like that. So once you have that, then you've got this excess string. You are wanting to loop it around the bass string itself. So what that will do, again, it is doing the same thing as I did in the tie block. it's going to create some friction on the string, and as you are turning it, it will lock the string in place. So you don't need a lot of excess string around the tie block. And once this gets going, then it's going to start tying the string. And then check yourself too. And once you start rolling, as you're turning the peg, you want to do it clockwise. So the string is rolling this way, away into the headstock. And then just strike the string, give it a pitch out. You know that the pitch is going higher. Now, once you've got that in place, what I like to do is go back to the bridge itself. Now, I'm going to double check this loop here. If you can, push it in. That's going to start getting tighter, and this loop here that you're creating behind the tie block is going to create all the friction you need to make sure that string is tight. And it's going to start closing, as you can already tell. I'm just double checking to make sure that this is going to not slip out on me. And it's okay to use plenty of string. We got plenty of string on the guitar. Don't use too short a string, because afterwards we can always clip these strings and bend them. So the point of contact on the string is basically where the string is up to pitch. The point of contact is going to be right on the saddle, and that's where the string will start making its sound. But you can also, when the string comes in, depending on the grade it has going into the tie block, all bridges are a little bit different. You want to push that as far as down as you can possibly get it. All right, so this is pretty secure. Going back to the headstock, I'm going to continue winding the roller. So by doing this technique, notice you don't have a whole lot of string going on to the roller. You don't need all that excess string on the roller. Once you get it to a certain pitch, everything should start tightening up, and those loops, let me go back to the bridge one more time and double check it. Now notice how when the string tightens up that this loop is getting more narrow, and that's what you want. You need just a nice clean single loop, goes this way, then you can just cut the strings as you wish, as short as you like them. So the bass strings are there, the bass string is there, and the E string and the A string. I'm going to demonstrate now to tie one of our problematic strings. Sometimes is the high E and the G. The high E being our thinnest treble string, and it slips very easily. The tips on these are pretty much the same. So I would do the same procedure, go into the tie block this way, give myself plenty of string to deal with. Now you can even tie these, if you have enough string, depending on the string, the thickness of the string and the tension of the string, some strings will stay by one loop. Sometimes there's a lot of guitarists that will give you one loop and then loop it again. I'm going to try to just do one loop and see if it stays. So I've got plenty of string, and notice I will tighten the string and create that point of contact behind the tie block, not on the tie block. Now the treble strings, they have a hard time staying after you do that. And then I'm going to circle it around one more time. I'm going to do the same procedure. I'm going to go inside the roller. Now, if you notice how large the holes are in the roller compared to the diameter of the E string, I have a lot of room here. So you can do the same procedure. You can double go into the hole again for precaution to make sure that the string will not slip on you. So you have a double and double wound around the roller going in the hole. Then once you bring it back up, you can go ahead and go around the string itself and start winding. Put it in the slot and the nut, and you can pull on it and make sure that string is right in the center the best you can. As that string is going to start winding, note you have a double wound in there, so it should be just fine. Let me pull on it a little bit. There you go. Okay, now you got it. It's pretty tight. It's going to start going right over the hole, but the wind is going to start winding on. You could either do it on the left side of the existing string in the hole or the right side. Most of the time they go on the right side so it doesn't interfere with the B string going. Okay, so I know my roller is going to be holding. It's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to go circle back and I'm going to check on my one loop on the E string. So it's holding still pretty well. I have plenty of string to work with in case it slips. So I'm going to continue winding up the tension of the string. Keep hitting that string so you know that nothing is slipping. If it starts to slip, that pitch will go down very quickly. So notice the loop of the E string is getting very thin, and the point of contact where the loop is hitting behind the bridge here is staying pretty tight. So I don't think it's going to slip. I'm going to raise the pitch a little bit more. I think it's holding. And the loop itself is very close to the tie block right behind the saddle. You don't want the loop to be out in the middle of the string behind the saddle. You want to be close in there, and sometimes if they're not, you can easily just push it down in there. So this is one loop on the E string. It's holding. By this time, as you're listening to it, nothing is slipping, nothing is buzzing. Then afterwards, you can easily cut. We have different products that we sell at Kennedy Violins. These are the peg winders, and these are built for taking the peg and when you are loosening or winding up the string. Usually these work really well when you're taking off the strings very quickly and you want to take the strings off in a hurry. You're not winding and winding. So these are a very good tool. This one is called the Pro Winder, which has on the end of it this little cutter on the end of it. So once you have some of this excess string, you can cut it so you don't have all the strings on the top of your guitar. I wouldn't cut it too close. I'll leave a little bit for once you can bend the string inward. There you go, cut it. So once you cut a string, the string becomes rather sharp in the tip. So you can bend it inward as well. Some techniques you can use. You can get a match and you can light the tip on it and creates a ball, so it doesn't have the sharp edges and can scratch the top of your guitar. But you've got excess to bend it in so it doesn't lay on your guitar, and you can even clip it even more so if you like, so it doesn't even have that much on there. The bass strings as well, you can clip these so they don't have any excess bass strings to rattle or scratch the guitar. And again, you can clip them even more and bend them in a way so it doesn't fall on your guitar. Some of the bass strings will lie very flat behind the bridge itself. Sometimes a lot of people tie their strings inside one another, so the E strings is tied into the A and the A is tied into D. That's a great way to prevent to have extra strings on the instrument, but if you want to take one string off, you would have to take the adjacent string off, if not a couple strings off. So that's a lot of work just to change a string. So here we have the bass string on the E side and the treble string on the E side, both tied on the bridge very neatly, and one loop will do it. And then here as well, when you want to, after you tie your strings and get them up the pitch, you have a lot of excess strings, you can just go ahead and clip those off, and you don't have too much string left over on the bridge, and you have very little string winding on the roller itself, so you don't need a lot of strings. Other than that, you're ready to do, after you put all the strings on, you're ready to tune the guitar up slowly and let the string stretch a little bit, and there you are. You've got some brand new strings on your CL6. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please give us a call. We're all knowledgeable teachers here, and we'll be glad to help you. Have a great day. Let's start over again.
Yeah.
One more time. Let's go as well. Can I do it again?
Yeah.
Okay. I just did it backwards.
Oh.
Should go this way.